So thank you very much for joining in today. We will not hold anymore. We'll just begin because time is of the essence. Della time frame is, I think, 4 hours difference from us, so we need to get started. Let me just share my screen. So today we will be dealing with fitness for beginners and debunking the myths, right? And Della will be presenting for us today. As I will introduce Della in a minute, but I'm just, so for those of you who are new or you are live with us on Facebook, my name is Shireen J. Bayard. I am the founder of Destyne Fit, and I will tell you a bit about Destyne Fit before we begin. So we are destined to be fit and healthy, and our clients to learn how to change their lifestyle for a fit and a healthier version of themselves. So basically, we coach our clients on their 21 journey, their 21 fitness journey to fitness. And this afternoon with us, we have our personal fitness coach, Della Samuel Blomhof. For those of you who don't know Della, Della has been a coach since 2019. And I met Della in school in 2010, in nursing school, that is. So give me 1 second, guys. Okay, Della is now reminding me 6 hours difference. So which means she's tired already. Okay, so yes, guys. So Della will be speaking to us about debunking the myths this afternoon. I know a lot of us, we hear about certain myths and sometimes we tend to believe it. So Della will tell us about even about a little bit more about that. So without further ado, I will not take up any of Della's time again. Della, I am going to stop sharing my screen and I will make you host. So you can take over from here. Give me 1 minute, Della. Okay, Della, you are host now, so you can share your screen.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. With no further ado, I will begin. Fitness for beginners, debunking the myths. I will touch up on a few myths that are well known. You might be familiar with a few. So before we go into the myths, I want to just touch up on what is fitness. How do we define fitness? Fitness could be defined through its 5 components. You have muscular strength and endurance, you have cardiorespiratory or vascular endurance, so that would have to do with your lungs, your heart. You have flexibility, body composition, and you have mind, body, and body vitality. So fitness is not just a physical aspect, it is holistic. So when we talk about muscular endurance, we are talking about the muscle's ability to resist fatigue and perform work for successive repetitions. So imagine someone being able to do, someone who is 30 to 39 years old doing 20 to 26 modified push-ups. So they are not modified push-ups, so you're not fully stretched out on the ground, but you are on your knees. And before you could do 20 to 26 push-ups before you could get tired. as opposed to someone who gets tired or fatigued after only doing 10 push-ups. So the one who's able to do 26 push-ups have more muscular or better muscular endurance. They are able to last for a longer period of time. Whereas muscular strength has to do with your ability to resist external force. So the external force could be the dumbbells you are holding, a block, a chair, or anything that adds more weight to your body. That will be the external force. So the more weight you are able to lift up, then the more muscular strength you have. So muscular strength has to do with your body resisting external resistance, whereas endurance has to do with the duration of time it takes before you get tired. And when we're talking about muscular endurance, emphasis is more placed on the amount. So the amount of repetitions you could do, as opposed to when you're doing weights or muscular strength training, it more has to do with the amount of sets. So most persons who train for strength will do less sets, but they will do less reps, but more sets. So instead of doing 2 sets, instead of doing 3 sets of 12 repetitions, so you do your dumbbell lifts 12 times for 3 sets, they will do 5 repetitions for 2 sets. So someone who is training for strength will do less repetitions because the focus isn't on endurance, how long you could go, right? But how much you could resist. We have cardiovascular or respiratory endurance. And that's another component of fitness, what it involves, and that has to do with how efficient the heart and the lungs are able to work together in delivering oxygen to active muscles. So imagine someone burning out after 2 minutes of exercising or jogging, as opposed to someone who might walk for an hour before they burn out. So their lung capacity is greater as opposed to someone who is now learning how to jog or how to run or whatever the case might be, whatever sport you might be doing. So the longer, the more fit you are, then the greater your cardiorespiratory or your lung capacity. Flexibility would involve being able to carry out a full range of motion based on the ability of your specific joints. So I'm not referring to persons who are professional gymnasts or acrobats. So I'm referring to the basic movements of our joints. Are we able to move them in the way they were meant to move? And body composition would be the makeup of our body in relation to our fat and free mass. So when I speak about free mass, fat-free mass, I'm referring to your muscles, your bones, your blood, everything that doesn't have fat in it, right? So your muscles does not contain fat. Fat is a whole component by itself. So when you think about body composition or changing our body composition, we are thinking about changing our body fat percentage and our muscle mass. And finally, mind, body, vitality. So that's the holistic person, your spiritual being, who we are physically, mentally, and socially.
Excuse Della, you'll have to enter the persons in the waiting room, right? Since you're the host.
Yeah. So persons who are now taking on the challenge of seeking to be fit, seeking to add changes in their bodies, and so on and so forth, it is also good to know what body type you have as a guide. So you know what you're working with, and you don't compare yourself with others because everyone is different. You might wonder why this person is losing weight so quickly and I am still struggling. Everyone is different. As I always say, fitness is not a one size fits all. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't compare yourself with someone else. We are all different. So there are factors that make us each unique based on our body type. So you have the first body type here. We have ectomorph. So I have examples here. A live example would be Kate Middleton. That is, I think, Prince William's wife. Yeah. She's an ectomorph. So what is an ectomorph? An ectomorph body type, they are skinny, they have thin bones, Long limbs, they are hard gainers. Hard gainers meaning it's very difficult for them to gain weight. It's very difficult for them to gain weight. It's difficult for them to put on muscles. So they are hard gainers. They have a high metabolic rate. So such persons could eat as much as they would like and still not gain weight because their metabolic rate is high. They are most times flat-chested for the men, most times flat-chested, and they are sometimes considered to be blessed or cursed. And by that, what is meant is that they have a high metabolism, so it makes it easy for them to stay lean, even though they might eat as much as they want. However, when they get older, as they age, their metabolism will get slower. The older you get, the slower your metabolism gets. And because of that, and they already have low muscle mass, not much muscles, it's easy for them to become unhealthy and gain body fat. That is in the later years of life. The second body type we have would be mesomorph. So as I continue, I hope you are able to fit yourself in some way. You could have a mixture of two. It doesn't have to be only one. So the mesomorph is a medium-sized bone structure, moderate frame, so everything just seems symmetrical. They have wider shoulders, narrow waist, so they are well proportioned. They usually are defined as being rectangular with the broad shoulders and the narrow waist. They are naturally muscular and strong. Best body type for muscle building. So such persons, it's easy for them to gain weight, it's easy for them to lose weight, it's easy for them to gain muscle mass. And the last body type is endomorph. So the endomorphs, they are full figured, pear shaped like Jennifer Lopez. They are very curvaceous, small waisted, round body, and medium or large bone, as we may know, a large bone structure. They have small shoulders and shorter limbs. They carry weight in the lower body. So you might have persons who are very voluptuous, yet doesn't look very fat per se. A lot of hips, the buttocks, everything is just Coca-Cola, as many persons try to achieve. Right? So that would be described an endomorph. Endomorphs are, they might look fatter, but when they get in shape, you see the curves. So they carry weight in the lower body. It's harder for them to lose weight. It's not impossible, but it's harder for them to lose weight. So the first one was, okay, so this one is the ectomorph. So how that ectomorph is the one who is very slim, lean bones, long bones. So if that's where you fall, what do you do? How do you train or change up your diet in order for you to get fit or lose weight? So such persons, it is best for them to have most of the calories coming from carbohydrates. Of course, we're not referring to refined carbohydrates, but complex carbohydrates, for example, your cassava, your whole breads, not too much white bread and stuff like that. So it's best for them to eat a lot of complex carbohydrates. And 25% from protein and 25% from fat. So the emphasis is on carbohydrates, that which will help them to put on more weight, build more muscle mass. And they could eat every 2 to 4 hours. It depends. 2 hours might seem very frequent, but 4 hours reasonable. That is for those who are trying to gain weight. So they have to add about 500 calories to their diet, and they could train for the usual 30 to 60 minutes a day. And of course, the focus for such people would not be too much on cardio, but doing more strength training, weight training, because cardio will cause you to lose weight faster. So the focus for such body types, not too much on cardio. You will do cardio, but not as much as you will do weight training. For the mesomorph body type, the calorie needs are slightly higher due to muscle mass. So the more muscle mass one has in his or her body, the more calories you need. You might think, okay, but if I need more calories, I'll gain more weight. But that is not really so. Because you have more muscles, your body is burning more calories. So that is why you will need more calories to feed your muscles, right? So they would need more calories because they have more muscle mass. They respond better to a high protein diet and low carbs. Because remember, such persons, it's easy for them to gain weight, easy for them to put on weight. So the carbs would be less. So it's best if such persons' plates are divided into thirds. So 1/3 carbohydrate, 1/3 protein, 1/3 fats. They do high intensity interval training or cardio. High intensity is a type of cardio. They focus more on cardio. Steady state cardio could also be done. Heat burns more calories than steady state cardio. So if such a person is seeking to lose weight, then heat might be the go-to. Weight training could be done 3 to 5 times a week. And you could spice it up with doing circuit training or body weight exercises. So such a person is more a balance with cardio and weight training, because either way it will work for them. So anyone who's a mesomorph, not that the other body types are not good to have, but yeah, this one has good advantages as well. And the last body type would be the endomorph. So such persons obviously have to really reduce on the carbs or get carbs more from vegetables. Unrefined high fiber starches or carbs like brown rice, sweet potatoes, quinoa, cassava, etc., and all the others we know about in the Caribbean. Make use of what you have. Stay clear of bread. Of course, more refined breads, cereals, crackers, cookies, and so on. A paleo diet is more recommended, so that would involve things like meats or fish or fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. So foods that could be obtained, foods people would have obtained in the past by hunting, like fish and stuff like that. They could include that in their diet. Thus, foods that are not processed. So processed foods are excluded as much as possible because it's easy for them to gain weight. So 30% complex carbs or unrefined carbs, 35% protein, 35% healthy fat. So we see less carbs for such persons. And cardio and weight training would be recommended. In order to lose weight, the cardio would be recommended. So it's also for them, it would be a balance of both. So our genetic makeup in fat distribution and fat loss. So this fact would help us to debunk one of the myths that we will address later on. Our genetic makeup in fat distribution and fat loss. One of the reasons we should not compare ourselves with others when it comes to our fitness goals is because we all store fat differently based on our genes. Some persons store it in the upper body part, the midsection, the lower section, as we discovered for the mesomorphs and the endomorphs. So you have to know where, by observing yourself over the past years or months, you would know in which category, what body shape you have. Each body shape would fall under one of the 3 body types that we discussed. The apple shape, persons who are more apple shape would be the endomorphs. The person who falls under the pear shape would also be endomorphs. They store their body fat in the lower section of the body, the hips, the buttocks, the thighs. You have the hourglass. The hourglass would be mesomorph. The triangle, the inverted triangle will also be the mesomorph with the broad shoulders, narrow waist. Many persons also strive to have these two structures, and you have the ruler shape, which would be the ectomorph, the hard gainers. They are very slim. So the first myth we will debunk is muscle weighs more than fat. Muscle weighs more than fat. So the truth is, 1 pound, or as we say in the diagram, 2 kilograms of fat is the same as 2 kilograms of muscles. So the picture alone sells itself out that muscle doesn't weigh more than fat. Fat doesn't weigh less than muscles, because 2 kilograms of fat is 2 kilograms of muscles. It's the same. But when you look at the picture, you see that one has more to make up for that 2 kilograms. So what we could say thus is that fat is more voluminous, takes up more space, and muscle is more dense. So in that light, that is how we should look at it. But one doesn't weigh more than the other. You would need more muscle mass to make up or to be equivalent to the same amount of fat, because muscle is more dense. Let me correct myself. You need more fat to make up for the same amount of kilograms in muscles, because fat is not as dense as muscles. And that is why when persons are trying to change their body composition, like I said earlier, the body composition involves your muscle, your fat-free tissue like your muscles and your fat. Some persons would try to lose weight and the numbers don't change on the scale and you get discouraged. I've been exercising for so long, but the scale is not changing. However, you do notice that your clothes might fit loose. That is because you are losing fat while gaining muscle. And as you lose fat, remember, fat takes up more space, as we could see in the picture. It's more voluminous. It takes up more space in your body. So as you lose fat, you will get thinner. But while you lose fat, you also gain muscle. So it might compensate for the loss of fat, and that's why the scale might not change. Right? So as volume decreases, density in your body increases. So volume, we're thinking about fat. Density, we're thinking about muscles. So as you exercise, you will lose fat. As you lose fat, you also gain in muscles. So that is why it will balance off and the scale might not change, or it might take a while to change. But it has nothing to do with because muscles weigh more than fat, that the scale is not changing. So the second myth is sport training. The sport training really works, especially when it comes to trimming your tummy to show those abs. So we have persons who spend hours at the gym or at home trying to make 100 crunches a day as a challenge, or whatever it might be that targets the midsection, in the aim or the hope and dream that they will see 6 abs in a few weeks, or whatever the case might be. The truth is, we cannot, in as much as we would love to, we cannot burn or sport train to burn fat. So if you're trying to do certain exercises for your thighs to lose fat on your thighs, that is not possible. It's also not scientific. Then you might wonder, but why is it being advertised and so on and so forth? But people do things to get subscriptions, to make sales and so on and so forth, and many persons do fall for it because we all want an easy way out sometimes. So persons are very, very vulnerable to believing such a myth. But what you can do, however, you can spot train your muscles. We call it isolation training. So you can do your crunches to strengthen your abdominals. You can do your squats to strengthen your hamstrings, your glutes. They will strengthen, they will get bigger. But you cannot sport train to burn fat. So if you want to, the reason for this is Based on our genes, we store more fat in various parts of our bodies, as we discovered earlier. And since everyone body has a different order of putting on fat, the body is now going to burn the fat in a reverse fashion, right? So fat loss is it happens in a reverse fashion, and that is scientific. So if I'm someone who put on fat first in my belly, or my lower abdominals, my lower stomach, my midsection, and then in my arms, when it's time for me now to do cardio and to try to lose fat, the body will burn off the fat first, where I last gained fat, which would be my arms, right? And we have many body parts that stores fat. We have our thighs, our midsection, our back, our tricep area. So imagine if you are storing fat first in your stomach before all those areas, and you are now trying to lose that fat. How frustrating it could be knowing that your stomach or your lower abdominals would be the last place that your body is going to lose it, because it was the first place your body stores the fat. So that is why sometimes if you are someone who stores fat first in your abdominals, that it could be very frustrating if you don't have the patience to wait for that fat to burn off. So the best solution for that is to do cardio. Cardio allows your body to burn fat overall. We cannot choose where it's going to happen first. That is based on our genes. But we really just have to be patient with ourselves, be committed, changing our diets to boost things up. So that is how it works. So what about those items that have been advertised? Do they really work as a way of spot training for us to burn fat, especially in our midsections for the females? So you have, well, that is just a brand, Sweet Sweat, but you have those bands, doesn't matter what brand it is. We use it to exercise. Some persons might use it for support, but most persons, I believe, use it so that they could lose weight or look trimmer in the midsection while exercising, because it makes you sweat a lot. It does make you sweat a lot, but it doesn't make you burn more fat in your midsection. What you are losing is just water weight. That's why you are sweating so much. You are losing water weight, and you will put back on your water weight throughout the day as you drink water, as you eat certain foods like carbohydrate foods that absorbs water into the system. You will put that water weight back on. So yes, you might look slimmer, but you will get that water weight back. But it doesn't make you burn more fat in your midsection. And in the second picture, you also have those items that massages your body, your abdominals. It massages your abdominals, and yes, your abdominals will get stimulated because it's activating the abdominal muscles. But those things also claim to help burn fat, spot train to burn fat, and some people will claim that it helps. But if you really do the research on it, those persons are doing other things like changing their diet and so on and so forth, and they are attributing it to the machine when they are also changing other factors that will help them to lose overall weight, including the midsection. But because of the fact that you cannot spot train even those equipments that do exercise your abdominals, it doesn't burn fat specifically in that area. And for persons who are doing the crunches to get the six-pack, the truth is you will get your six-pack. But if you don't have the amount of the body fat percentage that is low enough to allow you to see those abs, you will not see it. Doesn't mean you don't have a six-pack, it just means it's not showing. The fat has to come off for you to be able to see it. So our next myth, no pain, no gain. So if you are exercising and you're not getting any pain, you are doing it wrong. If you're not getting any pain, then you are not going to progress or experience any results. No pain, no gain. You have to feel the pain to know that you are doing it right. That is not the case. You have what you call DOMS, or delayed onset muscle soreness, that occurs usually within 24 to 48 hours after a strenuous activity. Whether you are new to exercising, or you are someone who have been exercising but you are now targeting a new muscle group, you most likely will experience muscle soreness after a day or so. That is normal, right? And that is not the same as the pain persons are talking about that you're supposed to experience. Muscular DOMS, so while DOMS is a normal reaction after a stressful exercise routine, because of the stress placed on our muscles, a deconditioned person or someone who's a novice exerciser should not overly stress their muscles. So if you are now exercising for the first time, or after 6 months you are now starting back to exercise, don't over stress your muscles. Take it in strides. So thus, if the stress applied is much greater than normal, if you are pushing yourself too much than you should be, your muscles will react negatively to high levels of micro trauma. Every time we exercise, every time we lift weights to target our muscles, you have what you call micro trauma, where you have breaks in your muscles. So these breaks are healthy. That's how your muscles grow during rest periods, and that is all good. But if you overstress your muscles, if you go too extreme, you could cause damage, and some persons might have soreness for days, which is not normal, for days, because they went to the extreme. That we have to protect ourselves from, and that is not in our benefit. So no pain, no gain is not always the case. So in such a case like this, a trainer may experience DOMS for a much longer than usual and may not lead to larger or stronger muscles. So persons who might go to the extreme and experience such pains for so many days, it will be to your disadvantage. You are more damaging your muscles than you are building your muscles, in other words. So what you're doing, it would be counterproductive. Exercise should not be something painful. For example, you have what we call muscular imbalances due to postural deviations, and in such cases, which are most common, more pain is not equivalent to more gain. So when we speak about postural deviations, we want to think of the way we stand, our posture. You have persons who naturally might have a certain posture because of a condition called scoliosis. But in other cases where we just have bad habits and we stand with our hips forward, as you could see in the second picture, like it has a bucket image, a bucket effect, to give you an idea of what it is. This is called the anterior pelvic tilt, where your pelvis is tilting forward, and that places a lot of stress on your lower back. That was an issue I had myself from young, and since I learned about it, I try to be more deliberate about my posture in how I stand on a regular basis, and when I'm doing certain exercises, to keep my spine neutral, and the back pains I would have had years ago, I don't have it anymore. So watching our posture is very important. So if you're someone who usually stands with your pelvis tilted forward, your lower back will hurt. Now, if you are doing, for example, a squat, and you are still maintaining that posture, you may experience pain maybe in your hips or your glutes, your thighs, while trying to do a squat. And you might think, okay, I'm feeling pain, I'm doing it right, when you are really doing more damage to yourself. So that's why the no pain, no gain is a myth in that context. So watching our body posture is very important. As I always say, straighten before you strengthen. So know what your posture is, know what it should be, and focus on having the right posture before you do certain exercises. And when you have the right posture, then you want to also go further, progressing to adding weights to your exercise. Because if you have the wrong posture and you are adding weights on top of it, that's just more damage for yourself, and you're going to feel pain, and you're going to think, I'm doing it right because I'm getting pain, when you're only doing more injury to yourself. And just a tip, persons who have that posture with the second picture, with the tummy or the pelvis forward, usually have weak abdominal muscles because you are stretching. If you try it even now, you try to stand up or while seated, you tilt your pelvis forward, your tummy stretches, right? So that relaxes your tummy, in other words. Persons who have such a posture usually have weak abdominals and tight hip flexors. Your hip flexor will be the muscles you find between your groin and your thighs. Because the hip flexors are tight, it pulls you forward. So persons who have such a posture, you would feel you would not be very strong in your abdominal region. So that is a tip to know when you're doing your exercises. Straighten your lower back, and while doing your exercises, you will have stronger core. Women should avoid weight training to avoid bulking. Is that so? Men have the hormone or anabolic hormone, anabolic, to build muscle, called testosterone. And women have testosterone as well. However, the amount it's more prevalent in men, and that is why men, it's easy for them to gain muscle mass. That is an advantage they have over us. It's easy for them to gain muscle mass. For a woman, that is not the case. Our testosterone levels are not the same as men, so it is not possible for women to bulk. You do have a rare cases, however, but apart from that, it is not possible for women to bulk. They will become or look more toned. For example, the first picture on the bottom left, you might say she's bulky, but she's more or less toned. The middle picture, she is toned. The picture on the extreme right, those women are bulking. But there are reasons for that. Bodybuilders. There may be small cases where women may possess the genetic ability to bulk. You do have women who grow beard. It happens. However, it is not the norm. So naturally, testosterone levels in women are of such levels that would not allow bulking as opposed to men. Men are genetically disposed to growing large muscle mass and strength. Resistance training will allow women to grow muscle mass within their genetic limitations, which is not bulking, making them stronger and look more toned or defined. So don't be afraid to lift your weights. And the more muscle mass we have as women or men, the more calories your body will burn. Carbs are bad for weight loss, or eating carbs will make you fat. And even when we're talking about the different body types, you would have noticed that it was advised for some to eat less carbs. But that is not necessarily because carbs make you fat per se. When we say carbs make you fat, persons usually are misled with that saying. Eating refined carbs could predispose you to putting on more pounds. But why is that? Is it just because it is carbs? No. Is it because it's refined carbs? No. Because if I eat only refined carbs for the day, for example, cookies, I could lose weight on eating cookies for the day. If I stay within my calorie limit, if I am at a calorie deficit, because to lose weight, you have to have a calorie deficit. It doesn't matter what is your calorie content. Once you're at a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. So I could lose weight on eating only cookies, refined cookies. So eating carbs in and of itself doesn't make you gain weight. What makes us gain weight is eating more calories than we require, eating more calories than we are burning. But the reason persons make that error or misunderstand this statement is that when we eat refined carbs, they are not satisfying. So because the sugar levels are high, so you get a spike in your sugar, and before you know it, you feel hungry again. So you end up eating more. Then you feel hungry again. Then you eat more. By the end of the day, when you check the amount of calories you would have eaten, you would have eaten more calories for that day than you are burning. And that is the reason why it puts you at a risk for gaining weight. Because you are low in fiber, high in sugar. So it doesn't keep you for a long time, as opposed to you eating chocolate or refined cookies, as opposed to someone who's eating a bowl of Quaker oats. The amount of calories in Quaker oats compared to the cookies would be less. However, Quaker oats is very dense. It's a complex carbohydrate. It's rich in fiber. So it will keep you for a longer time before you get hungry, therefore allowing you to eat less throughout the day and to stay within your calorie limit. So that is the reason persons think that eating carbs gets you fat. Another reason for that myth, when we eat carbohydrates have the tendency to absorb water. So the more carbs we eat, the more bulky we might look, because carbohydrates absorb water. So in one instance, if someone eats 2 to 3 grams of in one instance, this myth is grounded on the fact that for every gram of carbohydrate consumed, so for every gram of carbohydrate that is consumed, 2 to 3 grams of water is stored in our body. So because of this reality, one's weight could increase, but what would be due to that would be due to water weight. It's not that you gain more fat per se, but just because carbs absorb more water, you would have gained weight because of the absorption of water due to the carbs that you eat. So thus, if your body loses 100 grams of carbs, the body will simultaneously lose or get rid of approximately 300 grams of water. So that's why persons who go on a carb fast, abstain from carbs, may feel and look lighter and leaner because their water content would have also decreased. So they will feel lighter and they would say, okay, I lost a lot of weight the past few days and it really was just water weight. And there's also what you call carbohydrate loading. Like in bodybuilders, persons who are competing, bodybuilders, usually a certain time before the competition, they would eat a large amount of carbohydrates. So their body could absorb more water and their muscles would look more bulky. So that is the effect carbohydrates could have on our body. It's not that it makes you fat. So it's just important for us to know the good carbohydrates and the bad carbohydrates and how to include them in our diets in balance, being moderate, and to be aware that it's all about having a calorie deficit, and we want to not just lose weight, we want to be healthy. So even though you can't lose weight on just eating cookies and cake, you will not be a healthy person. You may have lost the weight, but you will be very weak and feeble. So it's all about having balance. So this would have led us to our final myth, which would have been carbs are bad for weight loss. So if you have any questions, feel free to do so. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very, very much, Della. So feel free to ask Della your questions. Let me share my screen. Okay, Della, yeah, so I can share my screen. Della, you can read in the chat. They're making comments in the chat. Okay, so no questions, guys? No? Della said an important point regarding your nutrition, right? A lot of times, you know, we want to just exercise, especially when we want to lose our tummy, just want to do crunches, we just want to do workouts, and you know, we expect that we would lose our tummy, right? And I think this is where nutrition plays an important role, because it's 80% nutrition and 20% exercise, right? So this is where we have the 21-day challenge to help persons. We more focus on the 80% nutrition to get persons living a healthier lifestyle by, you know, we do our shakes and stuff, which is a healthy meal. We just replacing our breakfast and our dinner with a healthy meal shake, right? So basically it's a shake in a meal form. So there are different packages that we do. We do the quick start, which is just one shake, one protein drink mix, the tea and the aloe to boost your metabolism. You have the ultimate pack, which is the 21-day package, which is 2 shakes, 1 protein drink mix, and the tea and aloe, and this will last you 1 month. And your advance is when we add Polester Duo, and this is a fat burner, right? To help us burn a little more fat. And if you are interested in building muscles, there is a 24 line where we use the protein drink mix right after workouts. So also, if you are vegan, there is a Formula One select line for you. So how do we do this? We have 2 shakes a day, breakfast and dinner. We have 2 teas a day also, breakfast and mid-afternoon, and 2 healthy snacks and 1 healthy lunch, right? So our tea is a natural energy booster. It burns fat, it reduces your appetite. It is a natural antioxidant, and it's a natural detox when it goes together with our aloe, because our aloe supports your internal cleansing. It's anti-inflammatory and it soothes your digestive system. So basically, if you're not accustomed going into the washroom daily, then when you drink your tea, it would send you to the washroom. And for persons who have issues with acid reflux, indigestion and stuff, the aloe works very well for that, right? So the shake in itself, it has soy protein, it has 21 essential amino acids, 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and herbs, and it is a healthy source of fiber, and it has 200 calories, right? So it is a meal in itself. And actually, when we were doing a comparison with the prenatals, right? The prenatals and all the vitamins that comes in a prenatal tablet is actually the same vitamins and minerals that we have in the shake. So the shake is very healthy. It would hold you for about 2.5 hours maximum. How do we make this shake? It's 8 to 10 ounces of water. It's 4 ice cubes, 1 scoop of your protein drink mix, 2 scoops of your Formula One, and then you just blend and shake. It's very good for persons who are on the go. And I think, you know, what a lot of people appreciate about it is it's a healthy option for your breakfast and dinner. So it helps you kind of stay away from the flour, right? Because we know for breakfast and dinner, a lot of times most persons eat, they have flour. If you have a lot of water weight, there is something called cellulose, which helps to support your body's natural detoxification of the kidneys and the urinary tract. So it does help you lose water weight. And this, I think this should be my second to last slide. This is just a photo of one of our 21-day clients. So basically he started off losing weight, and so he started with the full 21-day package, and then he went to build muscle, right? So this is he started off with the ultimate package, and now he's on the lean muscle mass kit, right? So you can lose weight, you can build muscle on our program. You just let us know what are your goals, and then we will be sure to help you with it. So lose weight now, make the world a healthier and a happier place. And our 21-day challenge includes meal plan, shopping list, support group, workouts, and one-on-one coaching. So when it comes to eating right and exercising, there's no tomorrow. Tomorrow is a disease. So people, do you have any questions for us?
I have one question.
Yes.
Okay, so I was listening to Della, part of the presentation where she spoke about, I think it's the posture, I can't remember, but it's the one where your hip is forward, right? So I have scoliosis. I don't know if that posture is because of scoliosis or it's just bad habit. But I realize that I have a lot of lower back pain, sometimes just standing, walking, doing things. And even when I try to exercise, my core muscles are weak. And it's only when she said that the core muscles would be weak, I was like, okay, so probably that is the reason, because I have been trying and it is really weak and I don't know what to do. So is it because of scoliosis or is it still bad habit? And what do you recommend I do to try? I mean, because my tummy is getting really big. So I really want to try to work on core. So that's my question.
It could be both, but I wouldn't be too hard on myself. If you do have scoliosis, definitely it would contribute to your posture, and you would know how severe your scoliosis is, because some persons are not very, don't have it very severe, and yeah, you would know how severe it is, and some persons do take professional therapy to correct it. For scoliosis, most times persons take professional therapy based on how severe it is. And it could also be bad habit contributing to it. If you just have to try to be more intentional about how you stand, but again, or when you're sitting or doing any functional movement throughout the day, but your scoliosis definitely would have an impact on it as well. So what I could recommend is, if you're not able to take therapy classes, you could always check out videos available. Professional therapists, or they do have videos available on YouTube for persons with scoliosis. Correctional exercises that you could do. You cannot correct your scoliosis. Some postures or deviations and correctional. Scoliosis is one of them. But there are things you could do to strengthen certain areas in your body to lessen the pain that you are experiencing. I hope I
Thank
answered
you.
your question.
Thanks, yes.
Okay.
I think I saw Dassel raise her hands.
Yes, good evening. Della, very informative session. What I wanted to find out, Shireen, is this recording going to be up on YouTube that I can always go back and look, go through the presentation again?
Yes, and I'll post it in the group also.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions or comments for Della? Okay, so if not, Della, we would like to thank you very, very much. I know it's probably midnight at you. We'd like to thank you for sharing your knowledge and your time with us. We really appreciate it. We know these things, we have learned a lot. And I always tell people knowledge is power. So sometimes, we need a little encouragement here and there. And we thank you for doing just that. So everybody, thank you for joining in today and for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. So I will post this recording in the group so you can share it with others who were unable to make it today. So have a pleasant evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.